Okay, you're live.
Okay. Hello, hello. Tuesday afternoon. What do I want to start saying? First of all, thank you for those who made a comment last Friday. I was in a pretty watery space on Friday. As I mentioned, I had a friend who is moving. I actually farewelled her for good today, and I'm still helping to clear up 25 years what's left behind. And it's interesting how, again, the themes kind of blend itself towards a direction. I pulled out a text I had picked up somewhere, and it's talking about how we all are connected, and that could not be more fitting to the situation of me saying goodbye to somebody who has shared my life for the last 6 years, back to back with our gardens. And it's also really important right now where it feels like we're separating again in so many ways. So how can we come back to that place of understanding that we are all connected, and what can we do individually to get to that place? So that's my suggestion for you today. You can obviously do whatever you want to do with it, or do something totally different with it. And pick whatever you resonate with. So I'm glad you're here. Find your seat, and we're getting started. So once you found your seat, I want you to close your eyes. Take a few nice long breaths in and out. Settle into your seat and anchor through the sitting bones deeply into the earth. Lift and lengthen the spine, maybe wiggle yourself into a more upright position. Take a few nice, long, deep breaths. And feel especially how the exhale can be the rooting, the centering, the connecting to the earth part, while the inhaling is the lifting up towards the sky, towards the heavens. So we're doing both. We're connecting, we're building. We are the bridge between heaven and earth. And take your hands, rub them together, create that nice warmth between the palm of your hands. Right hand on belly, left hand on heart. Breathing into the palms, filling yourself up. And thinking about what connection means to you. How are you connected? With your tribe, with the world, with your environment. Just noticing, reflecting. Place your hands in front of heart space, Anjali Mudra, and quietly set your intention for today. We start with 3 beautiful sound of Oms. Deep breath in. Bowing to your heart, place of love and light within you, all around you. Lowering the hands down to your thighs, roll the head up, open your eyes. The first pose can be legs up the wall. So if you want to do that, move yourself up towards the wall and use any of the props you're already comfortable and familiar with. You can also do it without anything, just getting your tush against the wall. Otherwise, if you have bolsters, you can use those to get the support behind the pelvis. If you don't want to get at the wall, you can also do supported bridge with a couple of blankets, or as I have here, with a little bolster behind the lower back. If you choose to do that, you have a little bit more options, because you can also here stay in the down position, so supported bridge, or if you want to get more towards the legs up the wall, that would be supported shoulder stand, and then you just raise your legs up towards the sky. No matter which of the two positions you choose, if you're not against the wall, what I want you to pay attention to is rolling onto the outer edges of your upper arms. And you see how I just did that? It lifts the chest, it opens the heart. From there, you pick and choose. If lower back is tender, you may want to walk the feet a bit wider, bring the knees together. That releases tension in the lower back. You can place sandbag on lower abdomen or on top of the knees. Or if you get into the supported shoulder stand, you just bring your legs back up. And again, keep on the outer edge of your upper arms. Spread your toes. Flex the feet slightly. Breath is flowing gently in and out the nose. So in the dictionary, when you look up connection, it talks about a relationship in which a person, a thing, an idea is linked or associated with something else. And it's also the action of linking one thing with another. So it can be a physical thing. It's a connection between humans, a person, but also things, ideas. Or simply connecting pieces together. How have you experienced true, deep connections with people in your life? And if they pop up in your mind's eye, what stands out? What do you remember? Where do you feel that connection? Connecting to your breath. Breathing all the way into the bottom of the feet if the legs are up the wall. Softening on the exhale. Melting. And then slowly transition out of the pose, depending on if you're at the wall or flat on your back. But take your time to get into fetal side resting pose and stay there for a breath or two. And then use both hands and press yourself back up to a seat. The next pose is Auspicious Pose. So I'd like for you to sit at least on a half folded blanket. I sometimes use the flatter bolster, for example, as an option. And then take, if you have a bolster, grab that. And if you don't, then you fold up at least 2 blankets in half fold and place them underneath the back of your thighs. Just like I have the bolster, you would take those blanket stack. And then sit on the very edge of your blanket and even grab the flesh of the seat apart. And today we're straddling the bolster, so you're creating a diamond shape with the legs. I'm grabbing the blocks. So have those handy as well. And stack them on top of your feet or in front of you. For the forward fold, you want to first lift and lengthen, create that length throughout the spine, and then start the bowing forward and ending up with your forehead onto the blocks. So you decide what position of the blocks you have to have. I want you to look for a forward fold where it doesn't feel like you have to push yourself forward to get to rest on the block. So I don't want that overreaching, stretching out. So the block will just support an easy hangout. And then you can play if you want your arms on the inside of your legs, on the outside, or maybe even bringing them behind your back. So plenty of options for the forward fold here for Auspicious Pose. Breath runs up and down the spine. And settling into the pose. There are times where we may feel disconnected from the world. Our actions can seem like they are of no major consequence, and we may feel like we exist in our own vacuum. Yet the truth is that our simplest thought or action, the decisions we make each day and how we see and relate to the world, can be incredibly significant and have profound impact on the lives of those around us, as well as at the world at large. So thinking about your actions and connections. connecting to your breath. And then feel like you're the marionette with a string attached to the top of the head, and lift that forward, and then slowly erect yourself back up. From here, bring the feet hip distance apart, windshield wiper out the legs, do some sighing, some sounds. Then we give the back a nice deserved break. The next pose is Dangling Bridge. So if you don't have blocks and bolster, you would start with the 2 blocks. Otherwise, you just pile up a nice stack of firm pillows. Then you put the bolster on top. And then if you have long legs, because we want to have the feet dangling free, that's why the pose is nicknamed Dangling Bridge, you can put a blanket roll on top of this whole construction so that you actually have a little bit higher support behind the legs. And then you set up with a blanket here for the neck, maybe a cushioning for the back. Bring your legs over this bridge, and then bring your behind fairly close in, and you may rearrange that once you're on your back again, lifting, bringing the behind closer. Let the feet, the legs dangle. If you have a sandbag or an imitation for any kind of weight, put that onto your lower abdomen. Eye pull on the face, arms out to the sides, palms facing up. Allowing yourself to sink into not only your mat, but into the earth with the support this pose gives to you. So less tension, less pressure on the lower back. The earth and everything on it is bound by an invisible connection between people, animals, plants, the air, the water, and the soil. Insignificant actions on your part, whether positive or negative, can have an impact on people and the environment that seems entirely separate from your personal realm of existence. Staying conscious of the interconnections between all things can help you think of your choices and your life in terms of the broader effect you may be creating. So in this pose, allow yourself exactly that, tuning into all these subtle connections. The bigger picture, that we're all connected. And tune in your sensors on becoming more aware of the simple things we sometimes forget to look at. Connecting to your breath. Breathing all the way into the back. Letting the feet dangle a little bit. If you have a sandbag on you, pull that off to the side. And then bring your right arm over your head. Roll over onto your side. Rest for a few breaths. And then use both hands to press back up. So for the next pose we need 3 blankets. Would be great if they have similar texture. We're doing step support. So you fold them all lengthwise. Start with the first blanket. Then add the second one, reverse the edges, and pull the second blanket just 1.5 inches, 2 inches further back. So this creates your first little step. And then again, reverse the edges of the next blanket being added. So now you have 1, 2, 3 blankets piled up. Here's the important part for the head. Try to avoid doing this or tucking under. This is too much, and that can be done just a tiny bit once you're in the pose. I'll show you in a second what works really easy and effectively. So bolster goes behind the legs. You sit with your back right against your step support. And then from here you recline. And once you're all the way down, you take your fingers underneath the top layer blanket right at your cervical neck. Lift that up. Put it right behind that curve. And it snugs perfectly in, it like molds right into your body. Send back onto lower abdomen. Eye pillow on the face, the arms extend out, legs straight over the bolster, or if you want to add again a little bit hip opening, then you can bring the bottom of the feet together, knees out to the side, and they will be supported by the bolster. So set yourself up into your favorite step support variation. Think of buying a wooden stool. The wood was once part of a tree, which is part of a forest. A person was paid to fell the tree, another to cut the wood, and yet another to build the stool. Their income may have had a positive effect on their families, just as the loss of the tree may have had a negative impact on the forest or the animals that made that tree their home. An encouraging word to a young child about their special talent can influence this person to develop their gifts so that one day their inventions can change the lives of millions. A poem written merely to express oneself can make a stranger reading it online from thousands of miles away feel less alone because there's someone else out there who feels exactly the way you do. So all these connections we often don't even think about. But once you start peeling, looking at how everything is connected, everything changes. Connecting to your breath. And explore with your breath again how you are supported. With the exhale, you soften, you release, you let go. And feel that connection you have with the props supporting you, the mat underneath you, the earth carrying you. If the sandbag is resting on you, pull that off to the side. Bring the feet flat onto the ground, right arm over your head, and then roll gently off your step support, again into fetal side resting pose. And from there, use both hands, press yourself back up, and then clear your mat. And we set up for the next pose. You need 3 blankets, one half folded for your neck, the second one in the middle of your mat with a round edge facing the bolster, in case you may only end up using 1 blanket behind your lower back, because there are options. The original setting of the pose, this is nicknamed Little Bridge Pose, is to take a blanket and put it on top of the first so that there is a little bit of a overlap on both sides. For some of you, that might be too much. If you already have an idea that your back is tender today, then open the blanket one size further and then put it over, and you have a little longer of the overlap here and a little less of the layer. And if you feel that this is too much, then just take the second blanket off altogether. And then sit in front of it. Bolster goes behind. If you have a nice firm one, you can also bring it upright. Otherwise, straight legs or bottom of the feet together. Then leaning over that little bump and wiggle yourself in. I want you to find exactly that spot where the blanket snugs right into your lumbar curve. And then once you're in the pose, same thing as always. Sandbag on the belly, eye pillow on the face, arms extend out, stretching out through the fingertips. And then taking the first breath to explore your setting, to explore the props supporting you. Staying conscious of your connection to all things can help you think of your choices in terms of their impact. We are powerful enough that what we do and say can reverberate through the lives of people we may never meet. Understanding that you are intimately connected to things and understanding your power to affect our world can be the first step on the road to living more consciously. Sweetly welcome the breath back and deepen in and exhale. Breathe into the lower back, sigh out, release any tension if there is any you're aware of. Pull the sandbag off, bring the feet flat onto the floor. If you want to massage out the lower back, cross your arms in front of your chest and then roll sideways with your entire body from side to side. So not just the upper body or the hips, roll like you're getting out of bed. One side then to the other. And when you've done enough rock and rolling out your back, then you roll onto your right, stay for a breath or two. And then use both hands and press yourself back up. For Shavasana, you are free to set up whatever you feel like. You may want to go back to Dangling Bridge if that suited your lower back well. Otherwise, flat on the back with just a blanket or a bolster or a few blankets behind your legs. Or if you like the legs up the wall and you have some more stuff to do today, then that can energize you in a sweet restorative way. That would be the other option. So plenty to choose. Once you're in your final corpse pose, I want you to connect again with the surface beneath you, with your body deep inside. And then thinking again about how you feel connected to the people in your life, to animals if you have them, to nature, to plants, to earth. Just notice. And also start thinking about the connection, like in the example of the chair, which was made out of a tree. Same as when we sit down for a meal and praise what we have in front of us, and really going all the way back of the connection, how this food ended up on your plate. That's a nice little daily practice to do before we take a bite. Think about all these connections. What led to what? From the material things, the things which, are getting built or created, to the connections between humans, the interactions between people. The primal rhythmic power and resonant sound of waves on the shore are like the earth's heartbeat, and become our connection with the body of nature. Our connection with spirit is unbreakable, but often imperceptible. Jonathan Lockwood Hui. This is your time to restore, to dive deep. This is your Shavasana. Connecting to your breath. Deepening in and exhale. Do it as mindfully, as slowly as possible. Gently returning. Bring each finger to the thumb and go back and forth a few times. Maybe do some extra wrist circulations, ankle rotations, wiggling throughout the body. And in between, again, deepening the inhale and exhales. From here, gently bringing the knees into the chest, hug them in. Notice, feel, press the spine into the mat. Lift from behind the heart, can't be overdone too much. And in addition, put a smile on your face when you think about all the connections you have with your tribe, with your family, with the planet. Rolling onto your right side. Allow yourself to rest, to pause, to take it all in. When you feel ready and complete, use both hands. Let the wings attach to your heart, lift you back up. Eyes remain closed. The hands return back home in front of heart space. Anjali Mudra. Last quote for today on the thought of connection is by Amy Lee Mercy. And it says, like a well-oiled machine, we've all been connected since the beginning of time through a beautiful, mystical process of unity. And it's up to you, to me, to us, to everyone, to nurture and to harvest that unity. And to be connected, and to be aware of the ripple effects connections have. We'll seal everything in with one final sound of Om, and with that we all honor our connection. Even if we're not in the same space, we are connected. Deep breath in. Bowing to your heart. May all beings be happy, may all be freed from suffering, may everyone be prosperous, may no one ever be unhappy, and may we all live together in peace. Thanks so much for showing up. Stay in touch, stay connected. Namaste. Thank you guys. See you Friday, I guess.